Welcome all. I am Somesh Rao, presenting a literature review on user resistance in information technology. This user resistance literature review covers a wide range of areas such as various reasons, outcomes, and a list of factors relating to user resistance, some of which might contain a framework, major resources, examining the users, overcoming resistance, key conclusions, and some conclusions drawn from the paper, and my own opinion. Introduction. This paper provides a comprehensive analysis of challenges that organizations face when implementing information systems, the factors that influence user resistance and acceptance. The author argues that understanding the key factors affecting the user resistance and acceptance is critical for successful implementation of information systems. In this presentation, we will explore the main themes and findings of the paper, including the challenges that organizations face in implementing information systems. Framework. Introducing the new technology frequently involves varying levels of changes to a business process and how employees carry out their daily job functions. These changes can be minor and simple modification in user interface or installing a new application, and these can be equally as complicated as complete change of a complete enterprise system. For example, let's say an Oracle or MS Dynamics, in which case requires a complete business transformation. And users react differently to these changes. Their response can range from partial to complete acceptance of changes to an absolute rejection of new system, in which many cases may lead to the project failure. Major sources of resistance. In this article, these are divided into 5 groups relating from formulation to implementation. The first 3 groups deal with the sources of formulation, and last 2 groups deal with the implementation. Source of formulation. Distorted perception. This includes like a myopia. This is some sort of inability to see a company into its future with clarity. Myopia usually means that the eyesight which is not visible far enough. This metaphorically includes future companies' inability to look future in with clarity. Low motivation for change. This includes direct cost of change or cannibalization cost. Cannibalization cost could be explained such as reduction of sales of company's own product as a consequence of introducing another product. Okay, and lack of creative response. This includes the main reason for diminishing the creativity in search of appropriate change strategies. Some of the fast and complex environmental changes does not allow a proper situational analysis, which is very important for a system to have. Source of implementation. Political and cultural deadlocks. This results when there is a negative relationship between implementation climate and change values and organization values. The resistance and opposition change will result. It means some employees will have some strong definitive disagreement among the group members, or some deep-rooted values and emotionality that employees usually have, and other sources of resistance that might include the leadership inaction, or sometimes due to fear of uncertainty changes some status quo. Embedded routines and collective actions problems. Lack of necessary capabilities to implement a change could be some sources of resistance. Examining user resistance. Here is a small table describing summary of user resistance examined in 3 areas as mentioned below: the system oriented, people oriented, and interaction oriented. Let's go one by one. The system oriented approach suggests that resistance occurs because of the technology related factors such as user interface, performance, security, or easy to use, and degree of centralization, which may not be as user friendly or easy to interact with as intended. One of the authors in this paper argues that people resist to the new IT systems because of their own internal factors, some poor designs and interaction of specific system design features with respect to organizational context of system use. Well, few other authors in this paper suggest that during the system development, if users are not involved, and there can be some disparities between aims of system developer or implementations and the users. This is due to the reason that system developers are mostly concerned with the technical aspects of systems, whereas users are mostly interested in new technologies to context with the extent of its impact on their jobs. Moving on to the people-oriented approach, this approach usually suggests that user resistance occurs because of the individual or a group of factors such as background, traits, attitudes, and experience towards technology. It leads outcomes and efficiency expectancies, while the negative expectancies among them lead to the user resistance, whereas the positive expectancies and user evaluation of the system encourages the user acceptance. User frequently become accustomed to the system when he or she is using the system for years, and they do not tend to change the business needs of the advanced systems. Therefore, they resist them. Author suggests one more area of user resistance, that is interaction oriented approach. This is related to the people resisting to a system because of the interaction between the characters that related to the people and characteristics related to the systems. On to overcoming resistance from the users. Here's a table mentioning some strategies to minimize the resistance in the literature. The issue overcoming the resistance from users have been a subject for several studies. The participative approach refers to the involving people in the change of management process. This could be performed through the vision sharing, empowering users, and involving users in system development process that communication feedback channel. Some authors suggest that participative techniques are best method of handling resistance through their carefully managed processes of two-way communication and information sharing system consultation. The employees tend to become more committed to the change effort rather than complaining with it. Whereas some authors found that participative strategies play a critical role in system acceptance, support their user training oriented sessions, and retaining employees could be observed in reduced resistance. Also, the ease of use and usefulness of a system can impact level of resistance offered by the users. Some key conclusions I have drawn from the paper are: user resistance is a major challenge in information system implementation, and it can cause various factors such as lack of training, adequate communication, and perceived loss of control. Some of the key conclusions such as overcome user resistance, technology acceptance, and increase technology acceptance. These are important to emphasize that new system benefits and make it easy to use and encourage positive social influence that could might overcome a system resistance at some time. Moving on to challenges in user resistance, here are some challenges such as change management. User may resist to information systems implementation due to the changes they bring to their daily routines, and this might include learning new skills, change of their work process, and adapt to new technology, which can be a daunting task to users. Hence, they feel challenging, hence they resist. Lack of involvement. Lack of involvement of user system during the development phase of an information system can result resistance to adoption. If users don't feel heard or their concerns may not need and they may not use the final product. Fear of jobless. The user may resist to the information system that is implementation because the fear that technology might replace their jobs. This is especially true when coming to the manual and repetitive tasks. We can say technology have moved forward so ahead that, for example, ChatGPT can replace many jobs. Um, such as moving forward to the lack of training. Users may resist to the technologies and systems because they feel they have not received adequate training to use the system, hence the resistance. The complexity of systems. User may resist to some systems if the system is too complex or difficult to use. A user-friendly design of interface and clear instructions probably are the critical for system acceptance. And finally, the organization culture. The organizational culture can play a significant role in user resistance to the systems. In an organization that has history of resisting the change, user may be hesitant to embrace the new technology. Hence, these are essential to identify some challenges, address them proactively to ensure that the successful information system implementation. Some key factors. Mm, According to the paper, there are several key factors related to the technology acceptance and user resistance in context of information system implementation. These factors can categorize into three main groups: user-related factor, system-related factor, organization factor. User-related factors includes the precipitations that usefulness and easy to use of the technology is a prior experience with the similar technology and the level of training and support provided by the users. The paper suggests that addressing these factors can help to increase user acceptance of the technology and reduce the reduction resistance. Sorry. The system related factors include some system functionality, reliability, security, and compatibility with the existing systems. The paper suggests that addressing these factors can improve the overall quality of the technology and increase the user acceptance. Organization factor includes the factors such as organizational culture, communication, and collaboration among the stakeholders, and leadership support implementation of the technology. The paper suggests some of these factors could help to create a supportive environment for implementation of technology and reduce the reduction resistance. So some conclusions that are drawn from the article. In conclusion, there are no tactics or silver bullet which can avoid the user resistance. Rather, it's a product of variety factors inside the organization which can contribute to the user resistance. There are some uncertainty and power of loss, lack of involvement to the change process and related changes. And there are several strategies proposed to overcome the resistance, such as training, increasing involvement, incorporating the feedback in decision making and communication, and the job reassessment. These recommendations provided for overcoming the risks and increasing technology acceptance are practical and can be applied to the various settings. In my opinion, understanding the user resistance is critical to ensure that successful implementation and therefore to reap the benefit of technology. This study shows that user resistance is primarily concerned with the new IT implementations. The literature review also suggests that also suggests resistance to react to change and uncertainty. However, there is observation in the literature that so far the complex phenomena involving the various players and factors demanding for the comprehensive understanding of the issue. The recommendation provided by overcoming these user resistance, increasing technology acceptance are practical and can be applied in the various settings. Thank you. Signing off. This is Someshwar Koka.